Welcome back! We just finished reading a journal with some very important and revelatory information written by Gehn. Information we might want to consider before moving on. In Gehn's first entry, he mentions that he is now able to create linking books. Well, this is certainly important news, because Atreus' plan was to trap him here on Riven forever. But now he's able to link off Riven into another age, although thankfully it's not Dunny. I guess we had suspected this all along, but it's good to know for sure now. A little bit later in the journal, he also reports the failure of his attempts to chart the stars in the star fissure, which, as you might recall from Atreus' journal, is located somewhere here on Riven. And a little bit after that, Gehn discusses the Dunny's fascination with the number 5, and how he thinks that the buildings here on Riven that he has designed based on 5 are the best and the most sound. It's no wonder everything we've been seeing around here is based on 5. Gehn also expresses his belief that the Dunny color symbology, which is based on 6, must somehow have a deeper connection to 5. This particular entry ends with a series of 6 circular symbols, similar to the ones that we've been seeing on the spinning domes. In fact, 2 of the symbols are the same as the ones that we saw on the spinning domes that were gold. So what could they possibly represent? Well, we don't really know yet. Speaking of the domes, Gehn reveals that he has been able to link to another age, which he has named some Dunny number followed by RD. This number looked like a 9 and an 8 smushed together, but it's obviously not 98 because RD is not the appropriate suffix. It must end in 3, but we don't really know what it is. At any rate, it appears that Gehn prefers to give his ages only numbers rather than actual names, a fact that Atreus alluded to in his own journal when he talked about Gehn calling the Riven the 5th age. However, closely following this revelation, Gehn describes his plans to place a linking site to this new age on every island. And from the descriptions and illustrations he provides, it's pretty obvious that these linking sites are the spinning domes we've been seeing around. So indeed, the domes are meant to house linking books. So this does confirm our theory. Also, it appears that these domes, or the fire marbles, as Gehn refers to them, probably for that bright golden shine of the inside, are powered by the Great Golden Dome on Temple Island. This entry includes a diagram which is pretty much identical to the one in the Great Golden Dome on that plaque, that shows pipes radiating from the center to 5 different shapes outside made out of small squares. We've been seeing those square shapes everywhere around here, but now we know what they mean, at least partially. We know at least that they must mean or refer to the various fire marble domes. Another very important piece of information is found at the end of this entry as well. Gehn states that he has added a coded access system to all these domes, and following that is a series of 5 Dunny numbers. Unfortunately, we can only understand 4 of these numbers because they're not, or excuse me, we can only understand 1 of these numbers because the other 4 are numbers we don't know. The first number is 2, but beyond that, the others are pretty much unknowns at this point. So this must be the combination to that slider lock on the inside of the dome. Well, we'll have to try to deduce what they mean at some point, but for now there's really not much point in doing that anyway, because we don't really want to visit Gehn right now since our prison book is still stolen, and we need to find it. Speaking of that, later on in the journal, Gehn confirms what we've been suspecting all along. There is indeed a rebellion here on Riven. It seems that they are under the leadership of Catherine and that they are called the Black Moiety, at least by the villagers. So that's what Catherine's been doing here on Riven all this time, leading the rebellion. Well, since we know that the rebel who freed us and took our prison book is a member of the moiety, I suppose that means if we find them, we'll be able to find out about Catherine too. Gehn describes the moiety's activities as staging raids on various locations in Riven. It appears that the villagers are afraid of them, and Gehn has been trying to find them in their hideout. I suppose this explains why they were running away from us initially. Maybe they thought we were rebels, or maybe, like I said, Gehn told them to stay away from us because they were already afraid of the rebels, and he was just using that to his advantage. Additionally, Gehn also includes a drawing of one of their knives or daggers, which indeed they have taken as their symbol, as we had suspected. In another interesting entry, Gehn details his theories and research on Riven's water and its strange properties. He believes, or at least suspects, that the water contains a bacteria that can be killed by boiling it, and so it has a strong aversion to heat. So in other words, whenever a significant heat source is placed near the water, The bacteria moves away from it and pulls the water with it, and that creates that bizarre hole phenomena that we've been observing around on Riven. The last entry in Gehn's journal describes how a rebel scout was captured, and it was discovered that he was carrying a strange crystal of some sort. Gehn had suspected that this was some sort of dunny schematic that Catherine had brought over, because apparently these crystals have the effect of powering Gehn's weak linking books, but they are much easier and more portable to use than the fire marble domes. So, to sum up the major insights that we've learned from Gehn's journal, he has found a way to produce books and has written a new age. However, these books apparently are fragile and must be powered by the spinning domes, which are all powered by the Golden Dome on Temple Island. Also, Gehn has moved his office and living quarters to this new age, which means that we probably don't have to worry about him sneaking up on us here on Riven, so that's good. Secondly, the code to open the domes, or the fire marble domes, is included in the journal, but right now, we can't really decipher the numbers with the information we have. Third and finally, some of the Rivenese are rebelling against Gehn, and they call themselves the moiety. They're led by Catherine, and they use that knife as their symbol. Thus, it is the moiety that has the prison book, and finding the moiety in the prison book should hopefully lead us to Catherine as well. Well, let's take a look around here on the desk and see what we can find. Maybe this is where Gehn stores some of his ink. These look like beetle shells, at least they're round and they appear to be the same shape. Maybe this is some sort of model solar system or something. Wait a second, what's this thing? It's a wooden eye! And it's the wooden eye with the number 1 on it. Well, unfortunately it doesn't make any sound since it's not in the socket. And we don't know what the animal that goes with it is, but let's read this. Last week, while monitoring the situation of the villagers from the scope in my survey room, I observed one of the natives swim out to a small object that appeared to be floating, but anchored near the entrance to the bay. I ordered the object removed from the water for inspection. Several days later, however, I was surprised to see another floating there. The missing object had apparently, and quite mysteriously, been replaced with a new one overnight. I've long been aware of the existence of similar artifacts on the villagers' island, but have paid them little notice until now. Tomorrow I shall send surveyors to catalog the others. One other thing that I didn't mention when I reviewed Gehn's journal is that he named the different guilds that he has established here on Riven. The builders, the surveyors, the maintainers, the educators, and bookmakers, I believe. I forget exactly, but at any rate, there are 5, much like most of the things here on Riven. And if you think back to that painting we saw in the gate room that showed the organizational hierarchy of Riven, you might be able to match those names with some of the pictures we saw in there. But with regard to this wooden eye here, well, we don't really know what exactly the animal is for it just based on this note. But this note does tell us something important, though, because it mentions a survey room. So it looks like we may have to find that to see what Gehn was seeing from there. Let's see what's on this desk. Another one of these frog traps. Gehn talked in his journal about smoking extract from the frogs, or itrams as they're called. Talk about a disgusting habit. Some sort of lamp. Some tools here. I guess these are different ink formula for the books that he tried to write. You might recall earlier in the introduction to this game that I said that the Dunny used special ink to write their books. Perhaps he was trying to experiment with different formulae so that he could achieve the right combination so that the ink actually did something. More frogs. I feel bad for them. I wish we could free them. Can we just open these things up? Eggs. Lots of eggs. Can't really do anything with them, though. And looks like we can't open the other drawers. What does this do? Is there something we can do with this? Something's changing in the water. And by that orange glow there, I can only speculate that means that it's being heated up. This must be a demonstration or experiment that Gehn was trying to build here that shows that bacteria in the water moving away from the heat source. At least we now know what's causing that. We'll check that door out here in just a sec. It's like this is some sort of book press or something. I guess we have to move it back. And there's a lot of blank books here, but unfortunately we can't really read them. Maybe this is where Gehn was trying to experiment with his paper. At least we got something related to wood here. And maybe this is some sort of Newton's cradle device. Maybe this is more ink? I don't know. One thing that we can deduce from what we've seen so far is that this island is pretty much a factory for making the books. The wood comes into the log chipping device, and then it gets put into that boiling thing to boil it to a pulp, and from that, paper is made. And I think this is pretty much where we started. We still haven't examined the central structure here. What is this thing? It's a book. Aww. The poor book is burnt. It's like Gehn just puts his books here in the oven when they don't work. It's kind of mean. I mean, why not give the paper to the villagers to write with or something? Well, I guess they may already have ink on it, but... Well, let's see what's through this door. From here we get a nice view of Temple Island, as well as the tram that leads over to Jungle Island. And straight ahead from this point of view is that island with the giant plateau on it. Looks like it's connected via tram with this island. And this does appear to indeed be the tram station we saw from Temple Island in the Great Golden Dome earlier. No tram. Oh, wait a minute. I seem to remember something from inside the lab. Ah, here we go. Why did he put the button here? I mean, couldn't he have moved it to the other door? I guess we might as well just unlock this door. There we go. Of course, we're not going out that way, but still, it feels good to know that this lab is completely open to any future strangers who pass through here and are curious. I don't want to bestow my vent-crawling fate upon anybody else. And now the tram has arrived. Hopefully this one won't have quite as many dip scenes, stomach-churning bits as the first ride from here to Jungle, or from Temple Island to Jungle Island. Of course, the ride from here to Jungle Island also did too, so let's hope for the best on this one. Well, we have arrived on this brand new island, and there's a door over there on that side. Kind of a shame we can't get to it. I mean, I guess I could try jumping this thing, but again, I wasn't able to jump that little gap in the bridge outside the Golden Dome on Temple Island, so I don't know if I should want to try this. Well, there's plenty to explore anyway. There's an entire path over here, so let's check it out. Oh my. What is this place? There's bunches of monoliths just rising out of the ground here. And all these tusks. Given what we've seen so far, I can only guess that these things are from warks. Has Gehn really killed all these warks? My goodness. Some sort of circular thing here. What is this? It's certainly beautiful and haunting. Just the sight of all these tusks. And now we're in some sort of canyon with a bunch of little plateaus. So you know what? I'm going to call this island Plateau Island. We seem to reach a dead end, but I see some sort of pulley system here. And a button. Alright, now we're high and dry. I guess we were dry to begin with, but it feels nice to say something that rhymes with high. Well, we got some sort of control panel here in front of us, but we'll have to investigate that in the next video.